Welcome to Real Life Mentoring, where we explore real life issues to help you make an authentic difference in the world.
Hi, it's Chris and Christina. We are talking today on Real Life Mentoring Podcast about the reasons people give, or the reasons we find that people give for not mentoring. Obviously, we are passionate about mentoring, so much so that really we believe that we're acting most like Christ when we're giving our lives away through mentoring. We believe everybody should be mentoring. Can everybody be a mentor? I don't know. We're going to find out. Question? Answer?
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I would love for everyone on the planet to be a mentor, but it's probably
Everyone
not.
on the planet,
But
yes.
probably not feasible.
So this, if you've been listening for a while, we know that you've been receiving good content about how to mentor. And if you want to be mentored, like, oh, okay, these are things. But this is kind of hitting a different audience. Maybe you're listening and going, I don't know what you're talking about. Could I be a mentor? We find more times than not, it's not a balanced equation. The number of people who want to have a mentor far exceeds those who are stepping up to the plate to say, hey, I want to mentor. Yeah. So we thought we'd talk about those today.
No, that sounds really good. And so I want to clarify, when someone says, so what's the title of today's lesson or lesson, Christina, podcast? It's for not mentoring.
Yeah.
We can have a huge list, and we've written some of these down that we've heard before. But I want to clarify, this is not about a personality style. Here's an assumption that can be made. Oh, well, you're outgoing, you talk to people easily, you meet people well, therefore you would be a good mentor. And I would not, because I'm more reserved, I'm timid.
I'm an introvert, I'm this, I'm that, yeah, whatever.
It is not a personality style, it is not a certain bent, it's choices we make. And so the first one I'll start with, someone will say, well, I don't meet people well. We're not asking you to go up on the street and tell strangers, hey,
hello, stranger.
Hello, stranger, I'd like to mentor you. People would run, and they should.
Right.
But if you think about the people in your life, your circle of influence. So I don't meet people well. You know what a good way to begin is? Hello. We were in a meeting this morning with about 10 other people, business meeting we'd never met before. And I was kind of surprised. Most people did not come up and introduce themselves to us. And we were the newbies. And that's okay. But you just come up and say, hi, my name is Chris. What's your name? Christina. Hello is a good beginning. I don't meet people well. What else would you say about that?
Well, when people say I don't meet people well, who do you already know? Every person that I have mentored, well, there's maybe 1% of that's not true, is somebody that I was an acquaintance with. And the Holy Spirit highlighted them. I said, hello, would you like to grab coffee? And if they say, yes, please, when, ding, 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 that's a good sign that they probably would like to spend some time with you. And it could potentially develop into a mentoring relationship. So it's not about meeting strangers. Who do you already know? Who are you already, in community with, living life with, at least or at the same place at the same time? That could potentially be a mentor. So I don't meet people well. We're not talking about going and talking to strangers. Say hello. Introduce yourself.
Tell them a bit of your story and listen to their story.
Yeah.
And see where it goes.
Here's another example. Once a month, I have a multi-generational women's gathering in my house. I did this to help take this barrier out of the picture. There are younger women. There are older women. All one of them has to do is go, hi, my name is so-and-so. Would you like to grab a coffee? That's how you meet people. Yeah. So, I don't meet people well. I don't have any professional experience. Either do we.
We don't? Why are we having a podcast
We're
then?
not professional mentors. Like, there's not a professional mentor school you go to and get a certificate.
Actually, there are some.
Well, yes.
No, okay,
but that's a misconception.
Right.
Yeah.
But for us, we've done this for many years, a number of decades, and we have trained a lot, and we've practiced a lot. So, yes, but we're not telling people. This is not about being the professional mentor in the room. It's about giving your life away, using what God's given you, what you've learned, all areas of your life could be utilized. But let's say you're a middle-aged mom. That's just an example.
I'm a middle-aged mom.
You're a middle-aged mom. You have so much to offer another woman.
A young mama.
Who has not been on the journey that you have. And last night we sat in our home, had dinner with a young couple who are expecting their first baby. You know what we were able to talk about?
When we expected our first baby.
All the things that we dealt with. We laughed about some things. Some of the things make you want to cry. Some of the uncertainty. We also talked about handling an aspect of their finances.
Yeah.
There was so much to talk about. But if you're a middle-aged mom, if you're a father, you have some experience in that in itself.
Right.
If you will open your mouth and say, okay, God used me to share some of my story with this person.
Which kind of ties into a lot of people we've heard, well, I don't have anything to offer. What we're saying is you do. You have life experience. We're not looking for people who've had success after success after success. I had a mentee tell me several years ago now, she said, you know what I've learned most from you? And I couldn't wait for her to tell me. She said, all the things that you talked about that you messed up on have really taught me well. So you have plenty of things to offer. Yeah.
Here's a statement I wrote in the notes at some point. If you really believe that you have nothing to offer another person, and this is not, guys, I'm not using sarcasm. That's not what this is about. But if you really believe you have nothing to offer another person, why do you believe that God has you on this earth?
Yeah. You've got a purpose.
You've got a purpose. And we want to help give you some tools.
I don't have time. That's a big one. And that's sort of a sore spot with me. I think as Western people, Western Christian people, we fill our calendars with a lot of stuff that could be eliminated. So that gets me on my soapbox. But if you really want to mentor, you make time. And it's not about 4 hours on a Thursday night. No.
It could be, but it may not be.
You're right. It could be as you go. You send a text, you send a phone call, or you make a phone call. Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Can you come with me? Hey, your kid's taking a nap. I met with a young mama this week. Her kids needed naps, so I went to her. We had an hour, and we were able to talk about some good things. But you make the time. So if you don't have the time, we make time for things that are important.
What people are already around you?
Yeah.
I've shared this in a former or past podcast episode. I would go to the gym, and there was a young man who wanted to go with me, and we would have so many great conversations. Mm-hmm. And so I was
pumping iron.
While pumping iron. And people could look at us and go, I guess they're just working out. We were.
Yeah.
But we were also really connecting as two men through mentoring.
Yeah, we've heard this a lot. I don't know what we talk about. Guess what? Do we have a podcast for you?
How to ask really good questions.
Right. That's really a legitimate concern. But there's answers to that. We've got material that can help. We can set up a workshop for you.
So what if I ask you this? We sit down and the first time and I say, do you like chocolate? What's your answer?
It depends.
Okay, now you're complicating it. I would say most people would say yes. Then we're done, right?
Yeah, right.
You don't ask questions like that.
Right.
No, you can't. Hey, tell me, do you like chocolate? Oh, I do too. I had some of the best chocolate when I lived in Austria. True story. But we're not going to ask questions like that for the most part.
You ask questions about, hey, so when you were in the second grade, what did you want to be? That's an incredible question.
Because those questions like that, and it takes some practice many times. The more we've done this, the better we've gotten at it. You ask this question, and what it does, it opens up several avenues of that person's life because of that one question.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's on this list. I think that's the most legitimate. I don't know what we talked about. We can help you with that. I don't have the gifting to be a mentor. What do you think about that one?
It ties in, I think, earlier to what I said at the beginning of the podcast episode. It's not about a personality style. I don't have the gifting. You have some things, and some examples would be your personality.
Yeah.
Your education, experiences you've had, good, bad, and ugly experiences. In fact, if all you share as a mentor are good and positive experiences you've had with a mentee, that person is not going to relate to you near as well.
Yeah.
Because we all go through difficulties. We all have pain. And so I don't have the gifting. Don't get maybe the word is wrong, Christina, wrong, but maybe we'll use a better word next time, gifting. Because when I think of
I don't
gifts,
have what it takes.
I don't have what it takes. You
Yeah.
do have what it takes.
Yeah.
If you will just sit down, and if you have to, take a journal and write things about yourself that you know that you're good at, and write down some things you know you want to be better at.
With that being said, we've had this question a lot, and we kind of go back and forth. Can anyone be a mentor? I used to say yes. Anybody who has a desire to pour into, to give their life away, yes. But let's just be honest. If a person is unhealthy with their emotions in the 6 areas that we talk about, if they have a poor perspective on their purpose of life, they probably don't need to be a mentor.
There's no shame in this.
Right.
That was us years ago. But they need a mentor.
Yeah.
And so, but again, no, not everyone's going to be a mentor. It's just not reality. And that's okay.
Yeah.
In fact, we're so passionate about this, but we know a lot of people don't have this passion. That's okay.
Yeah.
This is our focus.
Another reason for not mentoring, I'm not like you. Well, good. You're not supposed to be like anybody else. You be you, and God will use you to be a good mentor if that's your desire. Yeah.
I've had this said to me before, Chris, I'm not like you.
Yeah.
And I could say, oh, too bad. Or, good, I'm glad you're not like me.
Right.
You don't have to be like, in fact, say you have a mentor.
Yeah.
And that mentor wants to walk you through things to help you give your life away as a mentor at some point. Mm-hmm. It's important to clarify with that mentee, hey, you know what? As I mentor you, the goal is not to be like me.
Yeah. Don't duplicate me. Duplicate principles, but don't duplicate me.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to do things just like I do because it may not fit you.
Right. I don't know anyone else who is a mentor. We've heard those as reasons for not mentoring. Well,
I understand that. When I think back many years ago, I didn't know anybody who was a mentor.
Yeah.
And here's a thought. Most people don't walk up to you and say, hi, my name is Chris.
I'm a mentor.
I'm a mentor. Well, that would be awkward. In fact, we don't do that. People ask, what do you do for a living? What's your job? That's different. And we say, well, we're mentors, and we train people to be mentors through a mentoring nonprofit. That's a whole different conversation.
Right.
If you're in a regular career, a different career than we are, but the idea is to give your life away as a mentor and still be a teacher, still be a janitor, plumber, a doctor, whatever it is. You're never going to walk up to someone and say, oh, by the way, I'm Chris, I'm a mentor.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to know that unless an example would be, hey, what do you enjoy doing? Well, I'm a teacher by trade, by vocation, but I've learned to really enjoy mentoring men. You're a mentor? And they go, yeah. And that could open the door for that person to talk to you about being their mentor.
Yeah, and I think, again, because we take a biblical perspective, it's actually a shame that this is not more common. That when we go into our faith communities, that the older women aren't scooping up younger women and inviting them over and pouring their lives, or the older men are not scooping up the younger men and pouring into them. I think we're commanded to do that we should be doing that. But the reality is it's not happening a lot in churches. Therefore, we want to change that. That's our passion to change that. So if you have identified with some of these reasons, if you said them yourself, we want to encourage you. There is hope. We can give you tools. Reach out to us. But we believe that every strong believer, you're needed. You are necessary to scoop up the younger men and women in your lives and mentor them. Yeah, any closing thoughts?
Well, as you listen to this podcast episode, and if you have other reasons we did not list, and I'm sure there are several, let us know. Say, Chris or Christina, I am not a mentor because of this.
Yeah.
We'll add it to the list. In fact, it may be something we have not thought about.
So as always, thank you so much for listening. We hope today these reasons for not mentoring, they've made you think a little bit. So again, as always, thank you for tuning in. We want to thank you, as always, for listening. If something that you listened to was helpful, we would really love it if you would go to Apple or Spotify, leave us a review, download, subscribe. If you'd like to give a financial contribution to help us continuing bringing this sort of broadcasting to you, just go to FahrenheitMentoring.org.